Okay.
Hello, everyone. Yvonne Heath here, founder of Love Your Life to Death and the I Just Showed Up movement. And I am beyond honored to be here with one of my dearest, closest friends, my very good friend, Eva Olsson. And Eva and I have done many Zoom calls, and it's been a while, and now we're going to catch up. We're going to talk about things that have happened, things that we are commemorating and moving forward into 2021. We are recording this on March 30th, 2021.
Yes.
It's been, wow, over a year of this global pandemic, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster journey. And
It
so,
certainly has.
right.
Yes.
So, Eva, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I just had my vaccine
Yes.
and they prepared me. I don't have a headache and I don't have a backache or my arm isn't sore. So I'm grateful for that, but
Yes.
I accept what comes.
Yes.
It's okay.
Well,
Might not have it.
yeah. And to have that vaccination, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? Because this global pandemic, COVID-19, has been very challenging in many ways. And I know, how has it been challenging for you, Eva?
For me, it has been very challenging because I'm a people person. I on the road most of the time, and actually I had to come home from Alberta, from Lethbridge, Alberta,
Mhm.
March the 14th, a year ago, because of the virus. I've been there already presenting for 2 weeks, and the third week, of course, was cut. So I came home, I stayed in the house for 10 weeks. That was okay. My granddaughters, God bless her, did the shopping.
Mhm.
And then my doctor said, it's time you get out.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm doing okay. I'm careful and I'm doing well. It's very, very difficult. It has been of living alone.
Yes.
That's the mental stage. It's very, very difficult. However, it's still better than where I was 76 years
Well, and that's, when
ago.
this pandemic, for it has been disappointing for some people, devastating for others. And so for you to say, yes, this has been challenging. I mean, at age 96, you still travel and share your incredible, empowering message, and you have not been able to. So to acknowledge, yes, it has been very disappointing.
But as I mentioned before, when we had visited, that among all the challenges and the tragedies, there is always some light at the end of the tunnel. I
Yes.
am blessed. I have a son who's amazing, helping me, and that helps me mentally and physically. We
Yes.
do Zoom interviews for schools.
I love it. Well, we did one of the first Zoom interviews, and I just said, let's just stay connected this way. And I so love how open you are, Eva. Again, some people are in their 60s and 70s, and oh, I can't Zoom, I can't do technology. What do you say to them at 96? You have done several Zoom presentations and
Oh,
connections.
my journal is right here with me. I just looked at it before I came out. I have about 28 left to do the end of May. 28.
I love it. You're still so
Yeah.
20 present to talking to schools, talking to
Yes.
organizations.
Yes. Yes. No, I couldn't do it if I wouldn't have Jan. I
Mhm.
couldn't do it without him. There's no way.
Well, it just takes one person to help you navigate. But I mean, we did a bunch of Zoom calls in the beginning, and I said,
It,
even just press it.
yeah, it has to be the right person
Yes.
who has his heart in it. You have to have compassion.
Yes. And and that's what I also, people who are isolated or nervous about technology, I say, please just ask somebody. Ask for help, right? Because as much as this pandemic has been isolating, think about 20 plus years ago when we couldn't connect by Zoom or what, and like, this is a gift that we're able to do this.
Yes, it is a gift. Yes.
It is a gift, and you have continued to share your message, and that's part of the reason we're here, because I want to share a few things. First of all, you shared that Passover. I would just love to share. We're going to commemorate your Jewish heritage, your journey, and Passover is one thing. And I would love you to explain a little bit about what it means to
5,700 some odd years of suffering. So the way I was raised, I was thinking about my family at home, what it was like. The Last Supper that I had with my family was April the 9th and the 10th, 1944. And I remember it's a tradition that, let's say you have 3 married children or 4 or 5, family are all together. That's very important. And their children. And I remember 44, we were occupied already. And we were in the ghetto. It's about that time the ghetto was created, the Satmar, very famous ghetto.
Right, by the Nazi regime, right?
Yeah, we were occupied March the 19th.
Okay.
And my mom said she was going to bless the candles. And she said, go, hurry up, cover the windows. So the light won't show through.
1944.
And yeah, and then 2 weeks ago, I received a package from Barry. And it was 1 matzah, the unleavened bread from the synagogue. Every day I have a little piece of it.
Beautiful.
The religious Jewish people don't eat bread for 8 days.
Okay.
Unleavened, because when they fled, they took the dough on their shoulder and it dried.
So Passover, what does it mean? What does that mean?
You pass over, you go over. If you Google it, I'll give you the explanation.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to hear it from you.
No, but I'm just saying, yes. And the first 2 nights are the most significant. The youngest child is always asked, why is this night different than any other night?
So there are many Jewish traditions and commemorations. Yes. And one that is coming up, which is the reason we connected now, April 8th, 2021, Yom HaShoah.
Yes.
And this is to commemorate the lives and heroism of Jewish victims of the Holocaust during World War II.
Now, 10 years ago, 11 years this month, this April, 11 years ago, I was invited to go to Ottawa. My friend of 65 years, she drove with me. And they had a huge event. By invitation only, 500 people invited, dignitaries. You can't walk in. They just was a closed memorial. The ambassador from Israel was there, a lady. And the ambassador from Sweden was there. And here am I up on the stage. And there were some very high Orthodox Jews, like my father with the beard and the, Hasidic. And in the front row with these dignitaries. And I'm talking about, and the ambassador came up to thank those that still go out and talk about
Yes.
what happened.
Yes.
And of course, the ambassador from Sweden, he heard me what I said about Sweden. I'm in an amazing country where in 1946, it was easier for a Nazi to come into Canada than one Jewish refugee because you had Mackenzie King.
Wow.
But that changed, thank God. And so they were, and actually my friend Jaden, we talked last night from Ottawa, from Woodruff Secondary, excuse me, he was there, of course. He was honored for what he does on behalf of Yom HaShoah. Very dedicated, very, well, he booked about 18 schools
Wow. Yes.
to do Zooms.
That's extraordinary. And the fact that you have chosen, I feel like I could tell your story in my sleep because it's so meaningful to me and I've heard it. And you were silent for 50 years about what happened and transpired and you witnessed in the Holocaust. And then you chose to be a voice for change starting at age 71, and you continue to do that. And when we are talking about Yom HaShoah and commemorating the lives of the victims, the millions of people who were murdered. And, I look at my background that is very, it's light and there's stuffed animals and it's joyful. And I thought, do I take that away? But the truth is that there was tremendous grief, obviously excruciating suffering. And the joy is that you have chosen, you lived. That's the first joy, Eva. You lived and you have chosen to, first of all, honor every one of those lives, be the evidence that their lives made a difference, and make a difference for lives of millions of people that you have shared your message with. And that brings me joy. And you have brought many people joy in sharing your hard story because they changed their lives.
It's a choice.
Yes.
You have a choice. You can sit in a rocking chair and say to yourself down the line, I should have. I didn't want to wait for that.
You will never have to say you should have because you have. And you continue. And I love, Eva, I love you have written books, you have CDs, and you've spoken speaking engagements for millions of people. And now I love that a gentleman from out west in Edmonton, is it Michael Vermeech?
Yes.
With his organization is called Behind the Bars. He was so taken with you and your message that he created an extraordinary documentary. I would love you to talk about this documentary. It was so profound and so moving. And I'd love to know what it meant to you and to share a little bit about it.
Well, the first couple that he did was really, for me personally, very difficult to look at. But people that are not that closely connected should not have that difficulty. It's not easy to watch. No. But the third one he did, I just saw it again on the weekend. I look at it every weekend because that is easier because he wanted pictures of my being in Sweden. He wanted pictures of coming to Canada with my husband and then our son and the three of us. And I need to see that. Absolutely. It's healing for my soul to see that family setting, that small family setting. Tragedies, yes,
Yes.
but I have to deal with that. But I still have that joy of seeing it, and I'm grateful for that one, very much so.
Yes. Well, I have watched it, three parts more than once, and whew,
Yes.
very, I mean, I cried the whole time because when you see the horrors of the Holocaust and Hitler and the Nazi regime and the brutality, I mean, there are no words to describe the horror that happened. And as much as it's challenging,
Yeah.
people need to know. This needs
Oh, absolutely.
People need to know,
Absolutely.
right?
How will I know? Like in the one of the Zooms I did, excuse me, the 11 and 12-year-old children having multicultural, and the teacher is saying a lot of bullying.
A lot of
No, just
bullying.
how do you deal with that, Shivan? No, it's not, there's not enough acceptance. So where do those children at that age learn that? That's
A
what I
loving
find. It's a tragedy that they don't learn it early in life. And I said to those them, when you cut yourself, you bleed. When I cut myself, I bleed. And you know what else? The color is the same.
Yes.
What the pigmentation is should not affect you.
I honestly have always said I did not grow up racist or anything. I said, I don't get it how we decide how a person, whether they have value based on their religion or the color of their skin or who they love. That is of no, that doesn't, I don't understand. And if we can sit back and ask ourselves, and life is already hard enough with,
It is. It is.
and the grief of life, and we create this. And that's why you're so passionate about changing that, because you obviously witnessed the epitome of the bullies and the word hate, which you live to eradicate the word hate.
Yes, that's exactly right. Hate.
I will never say it, Eva. I'm letting you know, my whole family, when we said, oh, you said the H word, you can't, please don't say that, because that's what stems, that's where anger and bitterness and hurt, it's a disease, as you say.
Yeah, I so many times through my journey when I hear this and I said, okay, I live in Muskoka in a snowbelt area. We have a lot of snow. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you this, hating it is not gonna make it go away.
It will not. It will just you're making yourself miserable.
Well,
right?
it's a sickness. It's a sickness, really, as far as I'm concerned. It is a sickness. If you love yourself, you're able to love others, and there should be no room in your vocabulary for hate.
That's right. And you have, for the last 26 years,
yes,
shared the message of tolerance, inclusion, and just loving yourself. You have value no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter.
You have to know who you are, and you build on that. You accept yourself. You don't want to look like Marilyn Monroe, do you? I don't.
Marilyn
Because
Monroe needs to look like Marilyn.
I'm happy to see the way I look.
Yes,
I am.
Absolutely. Well, and that's another way that we create our own suffering, by wanting to be something we're not.
Yeah.
Right. And we create that. And so I love how passionate you are to continue sharing this message. I am so grateful to Michael. I want to, so the link, I'm going to share the links to the documentary. I'm going to encourage everyone to watch it, share it with your family, share it on social media, share it wherever you can,
Yes.
right? Because it's
Yes.
going to, like, we are still, as we speak in this pandemic, there are people suffering in silos of silence and isolation. We still have bullying and racism.
Yes, we do.
We are the only ones that can change. It starts with you and it starts with me.
But it starts with the self, right?
Yes.
I need to show an example for my children,
Yes.
my behavior
Exactly.
that affects them.
Yes.
And then that's what they take with them. You want to raise children that are going to be good leaders, you have to show that. You have to role model.
You have to role model. Telling people behave a certain way and you're not behaving that way,
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
you have to role model.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So Eva, I am just grateful for you beyond words. I am grateful for the choices that you are making. You're not sitting, I mean, if somebody wants to just stay in their rocking chair, that's up to them, but that's not what you are choosing. You are choosing to make a difference, and you are a light in this world. You are a
Yeah.
light.
I remember that in 11 years ago in Ottawa, that Yom HaShoah
Yes.
gathering, there was a woman there, younger than myself, so she might have been a child that survived. I didn't ask her, but she said, I don't speak like you. I only go out once a month. I said, well, that's okay. Once a month is better than nothing. If that's all you can do, that's what you do.
And yeah, everybody has to do what they can, right?
Yes.
Do what you can. We don't need to compare. But we need to share the truth. Sometimes it's very hard. This is a hard truth.
This is a hard truth, and that's why there are so many deniers.
Yes.
Not because they don't know or they believe that is the truth, because it's easier to live with a denial than looking at the truth, such an ugly truth.
It is an ugly truth. We need to know the truth, and we need to share that wisdom so it's never repeated. And we need to talk about and be a voice for inclusion and tolerance and eradicating the word hate. Love is always the answer.
There's nothing to gain, really, when you look at it. It's nothing to gain by, it takes less energy, gives you a lot less wrinkles in your face to be kind than to be mean.
Well, and it fills your own heart and there, right? It just, yes. Oh, so we are.
Even on doing these Zoom interviews with schools, I've been asked by children, how come you don't hate for what they did to you? Because I don't want to be sick. That's why I don't hate. If I'm sick, the perpetrator wins.
You are being a wonderful example, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. As we commemorate on Yom HaShoah, the lives and heroism of Jewish victims of the Holocaust, and I am being a voice by sharing your voice, and I want to share your documentary, and I'm so grateful to Michael and Behind the Bars for this, sharing this, capturing this truth and your story. It means so much.
You cannot imagine to how many people I mention you, because you mean a great deal to me, like more than you realize. I really appreciate the friendship, the love that you have.
Well,
and what you have been doing. What you have been doing. It's amazing.
But Eva, to be your friend and to share you is one of the greatest privileges and the easiest things that I could ever do for myself. I our friendship, and it goes beyond sharing messages, sharing, and you just show the world what is possible. And I just love you with my whole heart.
It's a lot less easier for me to love than hate.
Yes. Well, you're good at it. You're
Yeah.
good at it. So
Yeah.
thank you, my friend. Everyone, I
Thank you.
encourage you to please have a look at, watch the documentary that Behind the Bars has created about Eva's journey, a journey of survival. It is challenging to watch. It is a hard truth. They also share Eva's beautiful story of her family, heartwarming, heart-wrenching, all of it. And keep being a voice for change, everyone, when you can. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
And have a great Easter.
Yes. Have a great Easter. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's coming, right?
It is.
And take the day off. Good Friday. You have to take the day off.
Take the day off, Eva said. Unless well, this might be posted after Easter, but then I'll say, I hope you had a great Easter. Bye for now.